Alright guys, as you can see in the title, this workout is a mix of chest and delts. I personally don't need to train delts separately, but once in a while I like to change it up and actually train them. What I have always liked to do is combine chest exercises with shoulder exercises. Simply put, when you do a bench press, incline bench press, flies, you automatically use a lot of front delts, whether you want it or not. This is why my front delts have developed quite well. I mean, partly genetics, but because I train chest twice a week for years, my front delts have automatically developed alongside my chest. But since it's almost impossible to get massive shoulders and a small chest, it's much more efficient to combine them and make both grow at the same time. So, what we're doing right here is the bench press. The bench press obviously is a main chest exercise and targets the pectoral muscles, but it also targets the front delts. Now you can reduce the involvement of the delts and focus more on chest by pulling in your elbows to your side a little more, but as long as you don't literally have your shoulder lined up with your elbow, you get the best of both worlds. Mostly your chest, but most certainly also your delts are included when you do it this way. So imagine laying on the bench, and all you gotta do is make sure that your shoulders are behind your elbows. And to do this, you gotta tuck in your elbows just a little bit, and this is actually safer for your shoulder joint as well. Moving on to the incline bench press. All this really does, what the difference really is it shifts the involvement of the muscles more upwards. So this exercise targets the upper pectoral muscles and the delt muscles, and even more than the previous exercise, the normal bench press. So what we did is involve the delts a bit more than the last exercise, while simultaneously training the upper chest, which everybody can get enough of. Real shoulder exercise, the military press. This is a great exercise for the deltoids, for the front delts, but also for the upper chest. Maybe you can see it a little by looking at how my chest is involved in this exercise. See, I go all the way down, just like Arnold did, as you can see right here, to maximize the stretch of both the front delts and the chest. You know, it's important to always maximize your movement when you can to increase mobility, and then actually make sure you involve as much muscle fibers as possible. You know, and that's what we want. We want every possible muscle fiber to be targeted to get the most complete physique we can create. That's kind of one of the fun things about bodybuilding, you know. It's usually the details that, when repeated, really can make a big difference for your physique. Making small adjustments as you're working on your body, like an artist would, you know, it's never really finished, but you can always find little adjustments to make it just a bit better. Well, it's time for the flies, and this will be the last chest exercise, and nothing beats the Dumbbell Flyes. It isolates the chest more than any other chest exercise, but it also includes the front delts a lot, especially when you stretch at the bottom. So we basically did 3 exercises before this that target both chest and front delts, and now we finish them off with Dumbbell Flies. You know, doing this incline would target the front delts even more, But because we're not doing a lot of chest exercises, I prefer the flat version because it targets the chest just a little more, without fear of losing that pump in the front delts, because they get worked a lot during this exercise as well. Now, on to a pure deltoid exercise, the front lateral raise. A famous one by Arnold again. Pretty much everybody knows this one though. Now that chest is finished, I wanted to finish off front delts by doing this isolation exercise to really get everything out of them.
I did.
Moving on to the upright row. You may have noticed, but with delts, I like starting with front delts and along the way work my way to the rear delts. In between are the side delts, and with this exercise you work those mostly. Now normally you perform this exercise with your hands closer together. That would target the front delts and traps mainly, but notice that my hands are spread apart, just a little wider than shoulder width, to shift the attention to the side delts. And when going up, make sure your wrist is about as high as your shoulder and you hit those side delts really good. It's an interesting one. To further target the rear delts, I like to do short motions in this one. This is normally a shrug machine, but if I were to stretch all the way down, it would look a lot like the previous exercise, and we want to target the rear delts this time. I like to superset this with shrugs, but as you can see, I don't shrug upwards, I shrug backwards and upwards. This again targets the rear delts and the traps as well, as they are part of the shoulder girdle, and I like including them in my shoulder workouts. Contracting your scapula while shrugging will automatically put emphasis on your rear delts as well. Side lateral raise, of course, targeting the side delts. Normally I would put this exercise right after the upright rows with the barbell, so you get a nice tie-in of exercises that both work the side delts. But I wanted to do rear delts first because I want to work on those just a little more. Thank you for watching this episode. Nutrition video coming soon. Let me know what other kinds of videos you want to see, and I'll do my best to make them happen. And don't forget to stay golden.